Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today it is a gorgeous spring-like day here in North Carolina. Mimi and I are going to spend the day here in the privacy berm getting it springerized, as I am now calling it, because we're not really winterizing because basically winter is almost over here in North Carolina. So we're getting ready for spring and for summer. We're doing a ton of pruning. That is our main objective for today, pruning and fertilizing. So I'm gonna go through and show you how to prune plants. Mimi is currently working on Russian sage. We have got so many different kinds of perennials and shrubs in this space that I am sure there is something for everybody to learn here. I'm gonna give you a quick little overview of the space. Our team was out here early this morning, and bless their sweethearts, they have already weeded the bed, so we do not have to worry about weeds unless we find one little random one. Really quick, while Mimi is doing the Russian sage, you can see she is taking it back to about, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches and just going in and cutting it back. It is a little iffy as far as like time-wise, but we're in the space, we're gonna do it. Russian sage is one of those that you wanna wait as long as possible because you just wanna wait till you start to see new growth. Not seeing a lot of new growth yet, but like again, we're in the space, we're gonna do it, we're taking care of it. And you can see these little guys right here that she has already done. Let me show you just really quick on the other side. Like we've got sedums we need to go ahead and take care of. We've got perennial grasses. We've got panicle hydrangeas. We've got Amsonia, hibiscus, all sorts of things in here, y'all. But let me show you how good it looks over here. So with the grasses we'll take care of, look how nice and neat our team did an amazing job. And look at the tulips. Oh my gosh, the tulips are coming up. This is big apricot. There was a good number of weeds in here, and they came in here, y'all, and just did a phenomenal job cleaning all of this up for us. Oh, I could just hug their necks, and I probably will as soon as I see them. So that is what we are going to do. Again, I will go through and kind of show you, teach you how to prune these plants, because as I always say, that is one of the #1 hesitations with gardeners, whether you're a new gardener or a seasoned gardener. If it's a new plant for you, a lot of people get very nervous when it's time to prune, but it's one of the absolute best things that you can do for your plants and your garden. And this is the time of year where we do the vast majority of our pruning. That definitely is like the big ticket. The #1 chore in the garden right now is pruning and fertilizing. We're coming out of winter, going into spring. We want to rejuvenate these plants, get them ready for a beautiful growing season, put them off to a fresh start, and give them all the tools necessary that they need to have a fabulous growing season. So Mimi's working on the Russian sage. While she's doing that, and then she's moving over to the sedums, y'all, the sedums could not be any easier. She may not even have to use her clippers, because you can just literally like break off those stems, and you can see all that beautiful foliage that's popping up. Well, she's going to use her clippers. All that beautiful foliage that's underneath there, it is going to be so happy and just be all nice and perky. You can tell that it was stretching just a little bit because these have been great leaf catchers. So you come in here and pull the leaves off, and look at all that beautiful foliage. So as soon as these get that sunlight on them, they're going to get nice and thick, dark green, and just be very, very happy. So we're doing that. While she's working on that, I'm probably going to go ahead and do these hydrangeas. These are the Quickfire Fab hydrangeas, a beautiful panicle hydrangea, blooms on new growth. You're guaranteed to have flowers every single year. We want these to get as nice and big as possible. So what we will do is I'm only going to prune this back by like 1/4, right? So that means where we have those little leaf buds that are starting to swell right here, I'm going to cut right above that, shape it all up, basically cut every single limb on these 3 hydrangeas that are right here. And then we have the Amsonia. This is string theory. And so literally take it to the ground, y'all. Get those clippers and cut it as close as you can to the ground. That way when that new growth pops up, it'll be nice and beautiful in there. Then we're going to work as a team together to get the grasses done. We're going to string them up, use the hedge trimmers, and just saw them off down to the ground. So I'll set the camera up and we are going to prune our little hearts out today. My friends, Mimi and I are making great work of the berm. I just wanted to stop for just a second and kind of give you a little bit of some information about what we have done so far and why we are doing what we're doing and some things that you shouldn't do, but I'm going to do anyway. Just all kind of craziness around here. All right, so first of all, Mimi was like, Jenny, I don't mind one bit cutting those grasses back by hand. So she just laid them down, just pushed them down, and you can see she just gave them a nice little flat top, right? So just cut them all back. Ideally, you want to prune your perennial grasses before they push out new growth, right? So if you look down in here, all you see is brown, which is fantastic. That means we did it at the right time. The grass is still alive. Like, trust me, you could not pull this thing out if you wanted to. So it is alive. Don't worry about this. This is Niagara Falls. That is the one grass that I have throughout this bed on both sides, and it is a gorgeous upright blue grass. The Holy Grail hibiscus, this is Summerific Holy Grail. Again, it's what I have throughout the berm. This is a perennial. It's not technically a shrub, it is a perennial. All of your new growth is going to come out of the center. There will not be any new growth coming off of your old stems. They are dead, they're done. They had one great season, and thank you very much. So they will come up from the roots, brand new growth. So you can literally cut it back as far as you possibly want. It's gonna disappear and be gone. You can see I have 3 in there, and all you can see are those little stumps. So that is not a problem. The Quickfire Fab hydrangeas went ahead, and you can see it did not cut them back severely, left them some nice growth on there, nice size. I want them to be strong and sturdy. I want them to get as big as possible. Therefore, we don't cut them back very much. A general rule for your hydrangeas that bloom on new growth, if you want to maintain the size, like you like them exactly where they are and you don't want them to get much bigger, you can cut them back by half. Don't ever go back more than by half, because it weakens the stems and they can get floppy. If you want them to continue growing, continue to get bigger, right, then you can trim them back by 1/3 to 1/4. Just eyeball it, y'all. Don't get too technical. Just eyeball it and just trim them, and I promise they will be beautiful and be just fine. Now, Mimi started on, she did one of the Pugster Pinker butterfly bushes. I have them in mass here in front of the Thundercloud Purple Plum. And so I'm gonna come through, say, let's just follow with me for 1 second. All right, these hydrangeas are little lime punches. I'm gonna prune them in just a second. So they're here, and then they're on the other side. But when you look at the bed straight on, it's because this purple plum is in the center of the berm. So you've got the little lime punches on each side, then the whole center is filled with the Pugster Pinker butterfly bush. As a general rule, we want to wait until you see that butterfly bush pushing out new growth and then to prune it, which I do believe it is. And so Mimi's going to go ahead and prune these back after lunch. She did one as a test run. So you can see this is the size that we're going for, and then back there on the other sides, you can see what they currently are. Again, if you want to be specific, you absolutely can. On a butterfly bush, it's pretty easy. Just above where you have leaves, go ahead and just prune it. So she gave a nice little prune overall, and your butterfly bushes, of course, bloom on new growth. So pruning them maintains that shape, that size. They don't get too spindly, and they're going to be covered in flowers. So After lunch, she's going to finish doing the butterfly bushes. I'll take care of the hydrangeas. Now, the one thing that I told you that I'm going to do, but probably you do not want to do, Weigelas. I have in here, I have 3 Vino Verde Weigelas from Proven Winners. Vino Verde, I grow for the foliage. It'll do flowers, but it's not like this massive flowering shrub like other Weigelas can be. It is primarily for the foliage. Weigelas bloom on old growth. So if you were to prune your Weigela right now, like I am going to do, you're cutting off all your flowers. If you want your Weigela to bloom, which I assume you probably do not do this now. If you need to prune your Weigelas, do it after they flower. Very much like an azalea, right? Okay, we prune it after it blooms. I don't really care about the flowers on the Vino Verde. I want a nice, thick, gorgeous shrub with all of that beautiful foliage on it. I am going to go ahead and prune mine. Again, just so everybody in the room can hear me, the people in the back, if you want your Weigelas to bloom in a few weeks or a few months, do not do this now. Wait until after they bloom to prune them, okay? Just putting that disclaimer out there because I am going to do it. The reason that I'm doing it is that you can see we've got some growth on this, and it's getting a little, quote, wild on me. This is a moment where I am facing reality and knowing what I am as a gardener and my time here. So I know that that I can tell myself that I can come back here after it blooms and prune it, but let's just be honest, it's not going to happen. So because things are going to get crazy, it's going to be wild, and I'm not going to come back here and prune it again. So if I want it pruned and I want it to look good, I do it now. So that is what we're doing. We're doing it now. We're taking care of it. Let's see. Everything else in the berm kind of rinses and repeats. So we keep those same plants for the most part going down through here. So you'll see the grass is at the end again. We've got the same sumerific hibiscus down there. I do have a couple other things that I will show you. Also, I have some of the barberries here. And y'all, this is so interesting because I noticed, and this is, quote, the worst one, I noticed at the end of the summer that something was coming through and eating my barberries. Now, it is the weirdest thing because here we are in the middle of the flower bed, like deep in the flower bed, right? We've got butterfly bushes, we've got hydrangeas right beside of us, and whatever it was that was eating went for the barberries. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why not go for the hydrangeas? But they did. So they went for the barberries, and you can see them, and just cut them off right here. The only thing I could think of would be deer, but why would they go for a barberry when a hydrangea is right next door and they don't go for it? I don't understand it. So I'm just going to kind of come in and shape up the barberries, but they did it on all 3. So there's 1, 2, and 3. These are Sunjoy orange pillars, and it's just quite interesting. So I don't know what happened to it. 'Tis gardening. We're just going to go for it. All right. So I am going to prune the Weigelas and then start on the panicle hydrangeas, the little lime punches. We continue. My friends, today's project is complete. We're going to take a little quick walk through so you can see everything and I can explain some things that we did maybe that I didn't have already explained. So we're going to work in reverse, basically what we're going to do. Okay, so Mimi and I are over here and yeah, as Mimi kept saying, she said, I bet you feel like $1,000,000 having this off your to-do list. And man, I sure do. So the golden Oakland holly, again, we're just wanting to give it a nice little shape. This will be a nice sized tree. It's just going to take a little time to get there, of course, right? But look at the foliage on that. I mean, is it not just beautiful? Gorgeous variegation on it, of course, and then having those North Pole arborvitaes right behind it. Love that. And then when that Kinsley's Ghost flushes out, it's going to be like a silvery blue foliage on it. Color galore right here. Now, with the October Magic Ruby Camellias, your camellias, these are sasanquas, meaning that they're going to bloom in the fall. You know that, of course, because they have a leaf that's basically the size of your thumb. So that's a great way to tell if it blooms in the fall or in the winter. These are sasanquas. They bloom in the fall. Gorgeous double deep ruby red flowers. Interestingly enough, so when you're out in your garden, you're always looking for things. You just have your eyes open. You're trying to pay attention, right? And I was going to, it was the first camellia that I was going to prune, and I just happened to see it on the correct side from the back side, and I was like, what are those? There's these things on the back of a stem. So upon closer inspection and enlisting the help of my mama, I was like, Mimi, this does not look good. And she was like, nope, it does not. And so they were scales. Scales are a type of bug, and they're called scales because they actually look like scales. So I cut the limb off, which was great because I needed to prune. That was when I needed to prune. So I just cut it off. I have an old rag in Johnny, wrapped it up in the rag, and I'm going to throw it in the dumpster. If you had a major infestation, then you could spray it with either neem's oil or something. I'd have to investigate a little bit further, but you will see these and you'll go, that does not look right. And so if it raises your radar, odds are it's probably not right. So do a little investigation. You can even take a picture of it with your phone. I know iPhones do this. You have to maybe wait a couple of minutes, and then there will be an eye with a circle around it. Click on that, and then it will tell you, like do a Google search or an internet search of what that is, and then you can proceed from there. I closely inspected the rest of the camellias. I didn't see any more scales on there, so I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, there's no need to spray. There's no need to do anything. I closely inspected the plants. I saw nothing. We're good. We're moving on. So end of story on that, but just keep your eyes open when you're out there, people. All right, the Pink Cascade 2 butterfly bush. This is one of my favorite shrubs. It gets huge and massive, big, gorgeous, cascading pink blooms on it that the butterflies go nuts. Well, as you probably know, in last fall, we had Hurricane Helene came through with lots and lots of wind. Pink Cascade 2 was in full glory, and basically it was like this huge kite. And so the hurricane did a number on it and uprooted on this side of the butterfly bush. I've left it all winter. I could have done it in the fall. There was just other things happening. Clearly the bush is fine. I mean, it is completely fleshed out, got gorgeous growth on it. It is fine. So what we're going to do is, for now, I'm just leaving it alone. But we're going to come back through here at some point and put the Creekside blend on this bed, which is like a compost and aged pine bark fines. So when we do that, I'll bring my shovel, dig out some of the dirt from underneath those roots, try to push those roots down as much as I can. The plant is not wobbly, like it is firmly rooted in there. And then when we have that compost blend, I will put it on top of those exposed roots with some mulch. But she clearly is fine, so we're just going to leave her alone. That plant has been through it. Let me tell you, she is one tough cookie. And so we're just going to say a little prayer over her and she will be just fine. Now, coming around to the nursery side of the berm, basically, this is just what we did. You clean up your daylilies, you get any of that foliage out, that old foliage out. There you go. Here we have 3 more of the Summerific Holy Grail. Beautiful dark mirror black foliage, deep red flowers on it. So those are behind my Winecraft Gold smoke bush. Now, I filmed, or at least I thought I was filming, this beautiful tutorial about pruning a smoke bush. It would help if Jenny turned the camera on. So I thought I was filming it, but yeah, I didn't. So my point with your smoke bushes is that if you want a nice, tight, thick growth on your smoke bush, you need to prune it at least in the beginning. So you can see where I pruned it last year. So this is where it was pruned last year. And then before I cut it, there was at least 3 feet worth of growth up there. So you can see where all that multiple branching is happening. That's where I pruned it last year. The downside of pruning it is that you're going to cut off the plumes, the flowers for this season. I'm willing to sacrifice that. I see one that I missed right here. And so it's not scientific. Just go in, snip it. There you go. And so I'm willing to do that. Hopefully this will be the last year that I have to prune it. Pruned it last year, got beautiful branching on it. Prune it again this year, get another level of branching, and then we can just let it go and it will be gorgeous. But if you are looking for a chartreuse pop of color for your full sun garden, I'm telling you, Winecraft Gold is the way to go. I did put it on the end of the berm, so that way it gets in the shade earliest in the afternoon. So the shade starts here in the afternoon and works its way up, especially in the heat of the summer. And so in the summertime, this is going to be in the shade starting around like 3 o'clock, and then it gets a break. So that's the key that I have found with that Winecraft Gold. You will see that this bed does have irrigation. Once we go ahead and lay down some more compost and some mulch, of course, all that will be hidden. The Agastache, so this is the Queen Nectarine, and so gorgeous, beautiful growth. It had a ton of old growth, and this was hidden down in it. So I just went through and it cut out the last year's foliage that was dead and brittle, and then you see this beautiful, nice green mound right there. The Amsonias, of course, all pruned back. The grass is pruned back. That was the thing when I was designing this bed, is that I repeated so many of the plants throughout the entire space to bring cohesiveness to the whole entire bed. Mimi did a fantastic job at pruning the Pugster Pinkers. You can see they got a nice little haircut. They're going to flush out and be absolutely gorgeous. I did not touch the barberries. They're prickly little boogers, and I did not grab my gauntlets, my rose gauntlet gloves, and so I'll come back and do that at another time. But yeah, I mean, everything looks great. The Weigelas got a nice little shape up on those as well. And yeah, I mean, there we go. Got these last grasses pruned back up here. And so now it just looks like a nice, beautiful bed that is ready for some compost and mulch, little food. We did not fertilize today. I have a meeting here in just a little bit, and so did not get a chance to fertilize, but that's all right. We will do that before we compost and mulch, and all is well, because there is grace in gardening, right, my friends? So feel great getting this done. Could not have done it without the amazing Creekside team. So team, thank you so much for all of your help. I tell you, I don't know if I said this on camera, but I was fixing breakfast this morning, and I walked by and I was like, what? There was a person in the berm, and they were already out here working their little hearts out, getting everything nice and neat and tidy. And so we just have the absolute best team here at Creekside, and we could not do what we do without them. So yeah, it's a great day. It's a beautiful day. It's definitely giving me some spring fever. The frogs at the pond are chirping, and yeah, before we know it, the tulips will be blooming. It's gonna be glorious. So as my friends, if you're able, if the weather permits, and you can get out there in your garden, get out there, do a little something, right? It doesn't matter if it's you pull one weed or you spend a whole day out in the garden, just get a little something done, have some fun, enjoy your time in the garden. And as always, we appreciate you. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.